Okay. Chat is up. Let's go to Gmail real quick. Okay, let's remove. Let's disable AI. Stones aren't looking too good, bro. Okay. Fairly normal opening. This little line, I understand why, but normal sequence is just to back off. No need to make it super fancy. The other thing is, like, this is also Gote. White doesn't actually need to respond. They can respond with something like this. And then if you respond here, White can follow up by playing here, or they can pincer on the top side. Right? White doesn't actually have to respond locally. So if you want answers in the corner, you should attach. And this will force White to play locally. Sometimes White can try things like this. So they'll take here locally, and then you would want to extend. You can exchange the Atari, but there is no need to do that. The other reason that this isn't super good is it puts no pressure on the corner. So like, if White just takes the base, your follow-up move would put some pressure on it, but White can also come out. If you play from the outside and you do something like this, they can always undercut you, which isn't super nice either. So we're not really getting a whole lot of return by playing the one-space jump. The attachment is a Joseki. I have to question whether or not I mean, for White, I wouldn't really recommend playing the approach here. It's really not the important side, right? So like after this, you'd want to do something in the corner. So if you play here and then two space, sure they can get this, but this is normal. You can play here as well. If they extend along any of the sides right here, then you can go ahead and take the corner or approach. I didn't even notice. It's probably not a good idea to do it this way. You allow black to get forcing moves here, whereas here, their exchange isn't going to be good because the corner doesn't work. But with this one, there's different types of ways black can play this. So later they can play this one, and then this is already a good enough exchange. You're low. So it's better to just play the Joseki. Sometimes it's okay to play the two space, but in this particular case, open board, regular Joseki is fine. Um, the attachment on top of the approach is a little weird. So we have this unsolved corner here. Our group doesn't have a base on the top side. Ideally, if you're going to play in this corner, you would want to pincer and kind of try to reinforce the corner, but I would play here or I would pincer on the top side because we have a high stone now, and our opponent didn't exactly punish not getting a base here. So we attach. This is just going to allow white to play stuff like this, and then come back here. So at this point, if you played this way, well, maybe white won't give this up. Probably because there's issues with the bottom left, but white's happy taking the outside, even if you were to try and attack the shape. The other thing is we wouldn't be able to connect because we give too much in the corner. If you play normally or with something like this, I think black can play here, and then white gets a large extension on the top side. That would mean that like the group gets attacked, so white will probably play something like this, and white's looking to play another move here or play a move against this corner. So if you Tanuki, let's say you play on the bottom, when white extends, that's going to be sent against this group. So we need to add a move. If here, then white's happy to force you to live in Gote. If you come out with a move, say like this one, white's happy to get the extension because they made a helping stone on the right side, so they can rightfully take away the base on the top side. Just a bit of food for thought. Okay. This is an old Joseki. We need to connect. I don't know if I should call it or Joseki anymore, but like after this, black should Tanuki, and I would probably play the top side. If you're not comfortable with pincer, then playing something like this would be fine. If the opponent overextends, we would just pincer again because we're already out in the center with these ones. So normally, white would probably play here, and then you're kind of in a pickle where like you would want to play something here, and then like this. White would probably be happy with playing this way because you're kind of cramped on the top side, right? So in my eyes, like you have two options, either pincer or try to play for the side, but you don't want the side either. It's it's no longer big because white's alive on the right side. Right. So this is all right. If you're going to cut, you should just cut immediately, because this way, when they connect, you can play here. But generally, like there's usually a move here, like they don't have to jump. So what normally happens is there's a move like this, and then black takes. But in the actual game, we should play like this, and then we can probably honey here, and the idea would be to give up the one stone again. And because the ladder works, like this is probably okay for white. We're giving up a lot to play a stone on the outside. Really, the only move I would consider is something like this. And then you can play Tiger's Mouth, Connection. We probably can't do anything else. Tari, Capture. Yeah, this is looking really good for white. Okay, that makes sense. The second push, not so much. Maybe we can just Knight's move. Black is already in a lot of trouble. This is a very large corner, so even if black capture these stones, you have a bunch of forcing moves you can play. So stuff like this means the right side's not even black's. So black's in a lot of trouble here already. Okay, so in the actual game, white got the first move in the corner. That's a fancy move, but it doesn't protect against the Hane. Better just to play this one. If you're thinking about coming out into the side or like into the center here, you can still do the same thing with a knight's move or a large elephant jump, because this way white can't actually cut. But this doesn't protect you from having to deal with the Hane. In fact, like you could force a Ko, but why would you? This was good. Because black left this, I almost want to just extend. It's very large. It's just a very large move. So even if black plays here, we can do a 2-space jump, and then, if our group is alive, then that's all that matters. Black's only getting a few points in the corner in here, while we captured a bunch on the bottom. Black getting this was pretty painful. Probably should follow up, but didn't. Locally, this is the way that this is played. Hello, Xenox. Welcome. Push and then crosscut. Oh, do you have the ladder? I mean, my immediate thought is you don't have the ladder, but it looks like you do. Okay. Black's gonna have a bit of trouble. I think you should honey first. I don't know if it's going to be exactly working, but I guess the jump is okay. My first thought is definitely just honey, and then white should definitely bring the stone out. Don't let your opponent just capture it for free. Even if the opponent gets the honey here, it's not enough to help black here. First of all, they can't cut like this because you can capture. And if they cut here, we're going to connect. If they extend, then you're going to turn in the center. The reason we can do this is, well, we can play here in Sente. If they turn, then we can capture and we're alive, because they can't break our eye. If they turn here, then we're alive still, because again, we have 2 eyes in the corner. So we should not be worried about our corner here. Very thick, very strong. So we gave black some relief. I like this move. It's very thick. Maybe not the right direction. You'd probably want to put pressure on the group by taking away the base. This way, if they play here, you can actually ignore it and play here. And then again, you're putting pressure on the group. Later, you can come back and play B18 to get rid of the eye. So potentially black can play like this to make their group alive, but I mean, our group is alive here as well. Welcome, whoever is in Discord. Please mute your mic. I can hear static coming from it. Thank you. Oops, I have to get back to the... Alright. Thick move. Black should really protect their group. Even if you're behind in a game. So if you've been to Congress, you may have seen a few lectures. Kind of, I believe Ensung did something similar. But Zichen made a wonderful lecture about the comebacks of being from behind. You should still play normally. The idea is that you and your opponent, with AI evaluation, you and your opponent make moves of equal exchange, and supposedly, the person who makes the last mistake, last largest mistake, loses the game. There's also the walking thing. I can't remember the full name. Someone correct me. But Zichen talked about how every move that you play, you have this kind of like point calculation. So you have this history graph that goes up and down and wavy, right? If you play normally, or you play in a way that is efficient, more efficient than your opponent, you can catch up gradually. So in this board state, even though white has this really large corner here, I wouldn't say that this game is completely over. It's definitely a difficult game for black, but with our shape inefficiencies with the top right, and how we gave away the stone here in the corner is very large. We also made a bad exchange here. Even though we can come down, we still haven't come to fight this group here. So if we save the weak group first, because we already have a weak group in the top right, make one of the weak groups the targeting factor for black, and then try to gain points this way. But when you play moves like this, you're only solidifying your opponent's territory, because first of all, there's no way to break in because the Atari's here, and if you connect like this, and this looks like it was the game, um, you are not getting a wall here. The connection between these stones and these ones is not good enough to make a large area, right? The minute you play here, white can just say, hey, you know what? That's fine. You can go ahead and try, taking these points. White can also not attach, like, hey, you want to take more points? Go ahead and then try to swallow these ones in whole. But there's also the factor that you're giving up these stones, but you're also being attacked here, right? So one thing to keep in mind is even if you're behind, or you think you're behind, or in any combination of those, right? Try to play in a way that's efficient, but also, don't don't play crazy. Essentially, long rant and tangent gone. Uh, this is a really odd move. I can see what you were trying to do, but white can still just, push and cut. If you play here, white goes for these stones, and then later there is a weakness here. Okay. Blocking is fine. I know what white was trying to do here, but if you're going to like steal the base, just do it directly. Don't add the move, because if black plays like this, or sorry, if black kicks, you can play here, and you can take the stone, or if black gives up the stone, like this is already a massive profit for white, and then white should come back and fix their weakness here somehow. Huge points here, huge points here. There's a weakness here. Black needs to fix. Corner's large. This corner's large. So white's having a good time with Komi. This is interesting, but maybe come out. Probably like probe your opponent, right? And then come back here. Because now when they play this move, there's a lot of black is basically cut into pieces in this board position. So black probably doesn't have time to really answer this, and they need to do something drastic, like play here and then have to fight this off, saying we're going to capture these two stones, while you say you're going to capture the three stones on the left here. Okay. Connecting is probably okay. We should not give our opponent that. This feels like a gain for black. Black gained here. But black also captured, so I'm not 100% sure. The turn feels so suspicious. I almost want to just connect, because it would be, if your opponent answers, you can just come out here and then you can attack these stones. Our corner is also not fully alive, but at least we're out in the center here, so this is fine. Yep. See, the connection here is causing a problem, and then like this group is weak. We should probably just give up the 5 stones and then play in the center. A little bit difficult to play in the center though. Especially this group is not fully alive either, but at least it's in the center, but so is white's corner. Okay. I'm gonna speed up a little bit. I think fundamentally we found the problem for black, and we're not just making good enough shapes. Here, our opponent pushed through, but we needed to make a connection here. Is there any questions about this particular game? I think the real tragedy here is black didn't know the Joseki and failed to play this. I guess here like you could probably get something, but in the future, let's. I don't want to say don't experiment, but hopefully learn the Joseki correctly. Okay. I believe. Is there a Cameron or a Cam? Did I review your game? Yeah, hopefully it helps. I guess I'll just go backwards. All right. We have Arunas versus Peter. This is good. Fairly normal opening. Oh my goodness. 1 second. I was using the dartboard. Okay. My bad. Okay. This is interesting. So normally I think the solution is something like this, and then like white could attach, or we continue going out to attack the stones, but it does leave some weakness. I'm not completely positive on this one, but I do know that white should push, and yeah, I think all these moves are possible for black. Yep. Yeah, I guess you joined at a good time. Oh, it's all good. No worries. Uh, okay, so we played a very like this is inefficient. It kind of like doesn't put a lot of pressure on the opponent. It's I don't want to say it's a terrible move, but like if black plays here, are you going to answer with like the bump and then allow black to try to swallow the stone's whole? Because like once you I don't know the shape is probably something like this. Because once you play here, like black kind of gets like this nice boxy shape on the right side, and then like you have to figure a way to like come inside. Um, I realize maybe like we don't know the Joseki, so potentially you could give up the stones like this and then just fight it, right? If your opponent has, even if your opponent plays like this, you don't have to answer right away. Like it's a good exchange for 5 and 6, and then you can like shoulder hit, make it smaller. You can play a knight's move, force black to try to capture the stones in whole and make like the top side bigger than the right side. You could even play this move, or you can basically play anything after you make the 5-6 exchange. But like this, I feel pretty satisfied, even though we'll have the corner Aji here. For those who don't know, uh, later white can play stuff like this to try and make two eyes. I think if black plays this way, white's going to play this one, and then I think locally black is in trouble because they lost the liberty here, so we get all these cuts, and it becomes a messy fight. So normally black will just take and allow white to crawl, but this doesn't usually happen until after white has an extra stone here, because then when they push, they can connect underneath. So like this is going to be a good like asking move later in the game. There's also the opportunity that black just plays like this and forces the connection here. Okay, no biggie. Small corner stuff. So far, corner or not the corner. The game looks pretty normal except for the top right. So this is probably going to be the first real mistake of the game. We shouldn't kick stones. There are times when it's appropriate, but I promise you, 95% of the time, you shouldn't kick the stone. Um, I'll give you a good example of when you can kick a stone. So, in this position, say we play like this. If you had this formation in the bottom left, and your opponent plays here, we still wouldn't kick in this position. No kicking, no. Yeah, good job. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Sorry, I'm also streaming this on Twitch, so people are watching and commentating at the same time. You still wouldn't kick here. However, if your opponent plays away and then you play this one, well, now you have a helping zone. This changes everything. Now you can kick. And normally, white would like to stand up and then make a base, but because of the helping stone, the stone is way too close to the base. So now we get in this position where white's going to play here, and you have several options that you can choose to fight from. But in general, there is no helping stone here, so we shouldn't kick. And instead, you could just play the pincer directly. You might be worried. Well, what if my opponent jumps? Well, we jump too. What if my opponent knights moves? Well, we can knights move too. We can come out this way. The issue with the opponent knights moving is that, well, you can push and cut. Like later in the game, you can push and cut here, and then they're separated. There's other things, like if the opponent does I don't know, something really really fancy, like they try some like leaning attack, you can always answer it, right? We can play lightly with these stones. Like there is a good move to give them up. For example, here. Otherwise, like you can capture some corner points. If they block like this, like they have to swallow the stones in a way that is acceptable. The other thing is like you can also run fast. You don't have to run slow. Lots of options. The other thing that I would think about is maybe just playing here directly. If you're really worried about any type of surround, is you can always go out into the center. If you attach, just be warned, you are making your opponent thicker. So, like, you can't just block and hope for good things. Because when the opponent protects, you need to protect, and then they're going to get another move elsewhere. So you may just there's not a whole lot of points on the top side, so like there's no reason to try to block at a M19. Because if the opponent plays here, we don't have to answer. We could technically play elsewhere, but it does leave Aji in the corner, so in this case you do want to save the stone. Um, Other than like not touching them directly, I'd say just bring the stones out directly or pincer. Kicking and then pincer. Alright. I get that we understand how kicking works, but you're forgetting the most important part. You're supposed to have the pincer before you kick. Or at least in this case, you're supposed to have the supporting stone before you kick, right? We are not out in the center, so black is happy to run, and then you're forced to run too. Which means, like, this stone is actually way too close, because we can get repincered. And that will turn into a messy fight. Black ops to make white stronger. Very interesting. The I would want to play here so that my opponent protects in some form or fashion. I would not want to play this way and then live locally just so my opponent can play elsewhere. It's not super big, but like later in the game, if you do get this, black is probably happy to give it up because they're going to have two moves elsewhere. Of course, it would have to be a big endgame, so not super concerned, but this is going to be slightly better because it gives you the ability to jump out here, protect, or jump here. and you're putting a lot of pressure on the 4 stones. In this type of position where you've already stolen the base or like the extension from black, you want to play in a way where you get Sente and can put pressure on the opponent. If you don't do that, then black is going to be able to settle this group for free. Maybe not free, but basically free. Okay, so we got the corner directly, and black played. I don't know if I like that. I think you got a good enough exchange already. Like I would want to look to like build the center now. Like maybe just wing it with a stone in the center. Like the right side is gigantic, right? You can also play more defensive. Like you could probably play here, or maybe even here. Um, the idea is that now if the opponent tries to block you from the right side, like you could push up on the left side or jump here to make the bottom just as big as the right side. The other thing is like I think black could also play this. Just make life with the group. This feels really bad and very slow. Now white could attach, white could split, white can shoulder hit. Of course, this type of shoulder hit will be played here, so like they can just play the move that you should have played, right? I don't know if they would play this one though. That seems a little crazy. They can also attack from the right side or the left side first. Of course, this group isn't going to die, so maybe you can play a move like this and try to make more points. But white's also building, right? So once white gets a move here, it's kind of a battle of two moyos, and then white has a very large corner. So continuing, white play this one. This is kind of a game where like, all right, black has the sector line here. Black also has some stuff here, and then white has stuff here. White has something here, but not all of it. I should use different colors, but essentially where the lines intersect is right here, and black would like to build their sector line. And in this case, white wants to build in the center like this. So you can kind of see where the hot area is in this position. So like you need to move around here. I think you absolutely need to move around here for both players. Like here, but I mean black has a little bit more flexibility simply because like he's the one that's building faster. In this case, when black plays a slow move, we need to break into the area. So for example, if we play like this, we're building slightly faster, even though black has gotten an iron pillar. I'm a big fan of this move, but I think you can also just jump in directly. So if we play here, we can make space into the center. If the opponent plays from the other side, we can just play. We can break the dog shape here, dog nose. This move though, this allows black to just kind of just push up here. I don't know if he can. I think this is probably okay. Black would be happy to fight this, and then like you gain points here, but then black is the one still building, right? If you play this way, black can still build, and then now you actually have a weakness that black can use to fight the stones. So it's very hard when black gets the first move in the sector line. Okay, so black jumped kind of in between the sector lines, but he's confidently building the bottom. Makes sense. This is fine too. I don't know if I want to attach. At least not directly like that. So if they play here, then I can jump out. Either this side or here. Kind of break the moyo, if you will. The attachment. Normally the move is to like just go down, and the idea is that we want to prevent white from later playing I shape, especially when they've invaded our sides here. So a push, we should probably go out faster. Something here like you can probably get away with like these attachments, force the opponent to well, I think black can play this. That's probably troublesome there. So maybe not the attachment. Maybe you can play here once and then come out, because later you can make two eyes. Otherwise, I think we need to jump out. Maybe two space. I don't know if that can be cut though, because now double honey is a little weird, and the direction that we're blocking from is also weird. White's already broken the right side, right? So like the value in blocking white in the center doesn't make sense, because in terms of points, you can probably make 1, 2, 3, 5. There's probably it won't be 20. You can probably make 16 points, and like these points are like a little bit fuzzy. I would even argue that these stones are fuzzy, so you have basically 12 points that you can gain here, whereas the bottom it's much bigger box that you can make points out of. So small direction mistake by black. And then we're also making them stronger by playing this way. We had to answer this way, and white's already broken into the bottom side, so we're not happy as black anymore. Okay, this was an interesting attempt. I wonder if you should just jump directly. If the opponent responds, then you can do another jump, and like you're kind of growing the top left, right? Okay, I like that. That's a good move. I would be a little bit more greedy. Maybe play something like this, try to break into the Moyos, or I'd play maybe a one space jump. 3-3 I think is perfectly fine. Good move. A little conservative jumping in, but okay. So, all right. One thing we really need to be aware of is when you're pushing stones like this, you are giving white solid territory. You're effectively erasing Aji. So one thing is if we play this way, that ladder doesn't work. So you can play this one. You can play here. Uh, but now when white cuts, like everything in the corner is white's. If you play this one, you allow white to connect up, but like again, all of white's points. So we can't break in for sure. But are we really making any points in the center? I don't know. That would be my answer. But considering that white can shoulder hit, they have they probably have weird Aji that they can use, like something like this, to break in. Probably not. It's bigger to block and then keep the points. But I can guarantee you that all the points that you've made in the center. Well, we can argue that this here is already blacks, right? So the points that you gained in the center, not completely. It's probably this much. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you gain 10 points. You gain 10 points to whites. That's probably 40 points. I wouldn't be surprised if black is losing by quite a bit here. Okay, so it is black's turn. We played some pushes. I would just connect. Um, essentially, just don't give your opponent more forcing moves, and that would be better. Because once we're like this, black has no way of making those like extra points while he gave you all the points there. So we allow black in the top side. This is not a real move. Um, White is trying to cut off a living group. So first of all, you can push. One thing, like if they continue the fight, you can just try to kill the stones. It's possible. And you can play stuff like this, and then swallow the stones and hole. That would give you a lot better chances of winning the game. Oh. Getting cut like that is troublesome. I would just play here. And, like, you can capture the 3 stones. In fact, I'd say white made a mistake playing this way. They probably should have tried pushing, but in all reality, like, if white just protects here first, black's in trouble. Because first of all, white can reduce. The other thing is that white has some large endgame points here, but the left side is a lot bigger than the center, for sure. And then black got cut. I want to just connect here. If white decides to push through and then extend this way, first, we have a Hane here. Second, you can really do some damage to white because you have extra liberties. You can actually fight this because you're already connected with this black group, right? White's gonna have a hard time trying to cut these stones off, so they might run first. And then because you took a liberty here, it's even more important to destroy the side. The cut immediately feels suspicious. Like this move is still going to be very large, but I am also worried about the group in the center. So we may just need to play here and then accept that black can push. We got the cut. I would push here as black. I don't know. Well, it's hard to say because I imagine white's looking to do this squeeze. But I guess I'm unsure. So one thing is I'd like to extend, but we have to play here. So if I play this one first and then extend, you can't capture me anymore. And then black needs to run out this way. And then you could still technically give these stones up. Because you already gained profit by capturing these stones. But I would like to do something a little bit more serious, sinister, if you may. It's hard to say. Maybe we just answer the Hane. Because when black jumps, we're also going to jump. Jump. Had to answer that. It's unfortunate. So I'm already seeing some trouble here for white. If white doesn't fix later, because you're going to have to connect, black has a really nice cutting point here. Of course, white gets a really nice move here, but black could also just cut, right? If black, oh, that's what black did in the game. So you got into trouble here. It might be better to just connect. And then if your opponent plays like this, you can play the ko. I don't think black has the ko threats to play this, especially since you have a bunch of local ko threats as well. Just to give an example, you can push up here. These are going to be co-threats that can be played. You can capture as well. This is also going to be a local co-threat. So you have 4 local co-threats, and then you just need to find 5 local co-threats if you include the Atari. So you just need to find black needs to find a large enough co-threats. In the game, we connected. We got the peep. We took. Okay, so now we're racing. Oh no! Black kind of murdered themselves here. This wasn't a real peep. More liberties. So we have 1, 2, 3, 3 and 1 shared, so 4. Like this, white should die. Okay, so the foreshadowing wasn't as what I thought it would be. Black still got the cut, but they did not kill white. The only move is to play something like this. You could try this. Sorry. Actually, do you really need to play this move now? I even question whether or not we need to capture like that. I mean, you may want to cut later, but none of like white's moves are like super threatening, especially since you're going to be able to connect up here. So you can play the Atari, and then like they still have to answer the outside moves. So you're never in real danger of having to fight this. First, we can play this way, and then we can capture the 2 stones. The other thing is potentially you want to just break out immediately anyways. And white's in trouble because they lost all their stones. So I don't know if Arunis was in time trouble or not, but these feel like hasty decisions rather than thoughtful ones. I would see that like I can't these. It would make sense to play this move if these stones could get cut off, but they can't. And then this looks like someone reacted terribly to a peep, but the peep is not real. Any questions about the game? Perfect. I hope you learn from them. May you become a stronger player. No problem. Alright, I'm gonna move on to the next game, uh, which is Origami Joe versus Jerry 12. Fairly normal. I kind of see this position as low. So if this was high, I could see like adding value to it, but with the way this being low, I just want to pincer here. There's also the fact that like this area is maybe a slight mistake in terms of direction. This might be a time to also kick to like make the position higher. This would be an acceptable time to definitely do the kick, and then you can approach immediately, kind of put weakness on it. But I personally would want to just switch directions. So like now, when my opponent plays this way, I don't have to think about it, and I can just play on like the important side where the opponent wants to try to make an extension from. You can also play here. I would be a little bit low, not really my first choice, but I would definitely look at the kind of like moves like this and try to make something of the left side and bottom. So the opponent made a alright. The opponent made this type of shape, I would definitely kick and then and pincer. I think at this point, like kicking is a nice sequence you can do. Because now the stone is too close, so it's a little inefficient. But black would be solid in a way. So black got to play a good shape, but he is slightly behind in terms of development because his 3/4 stone is now facing the left side. So we can definitely, yeah, perfect. This is a good way of kicking. I would still jump because when you jump, you activate some Samaji here. So now if black does some sort of like leaning or like they put pressure here, later in the game, you can do threats like this. So now you can connect under and steal the base with a jump here. You could probably still do it without the jump, but you might come to a position where uh, you do want to be able to cut. So if it's something like this, I think White would be happy to attack the two stones and make use of the fact that Black had to kind of give them up. So we took the extension, which is fine. Black makes a bad touch move. If you're going to touch, I think you have to follow it up. And then here you may need to Hane or kind of like fix. And I feel like you would just have to play here. When white connects, like locally you're alive, but now you need to do something. It's just this is bad. This is going to be really bad. So even if you play here, white still gets to surround, and your group's not fully alive. You still owe the move. You may end up having to play something like this to come out. So in general, I think maybe just playing here directly, or you could also play this one instead. The idea would be is that we're leaving this Haji here. So if we extend, the Haji is definitely going to be there, but your opponent's definitely going to jump. But at least this way you have thick shape, and it's not easy to kill, but white can definitely put pressure on them. So in the game we jumped. White got. I don't know if I would play that move. Your group is kind of alright already because of the one stone. The one stone's hurt itself. So like at this point, I wouldn't want these two groups to connect. You could also make sure there's no 3/3 invasion. I don't think that's completely true because there's this because of H3. You could also probably just attach as well, and this would kind of turn into a fight unless the opponent entered with the Hane, and then you can just break the shape. The other thing is you can turn directly, and if they answer, then you can play stuff like this. So if they go down, like now your group is solid, and then you can come back and absolutely separate these stones. This nice move. I understand what you're trying to do, but if you're going to reduce the top side, just play a move there. Black played a move. We jumped in. Not sure. Well, I can say like the hotspot here is the bottom left, right? This is an idea that you can play, so like there's no pressure to always play the correct move, but with kind of the Aji in the corner, I would want to fight on the bottom because that's always going to be there. If black plays this another move, it's like they played 2 one-space jumps, and that's pretty slow. It looks big, but it's also slow. Okay, the opponent is not giving a Panuki. I would give a Panuki because on the right side you can attach. White's actually pretty low on the right side. You can even shoulder hit. You can play like a weird, funky looking move, but the idea is that you can always lean on the stone. So you're prepping the shoulder hit in a way. So giving the Puniki doesn't necessarily mean that it's super good for white. But I would say like this gives black the opportunity to try something here. If white blocks, we can't do this because we're just giving white the ability to save their stones. Uh, if we play here now, they can't block on this side because we can still play here. You can also play here too, and the idea would be is we can cut, so white can't do this. I think we can also play here too. This one's a little bit more difficult because now this doesn't work as well, but it does give you Aji to play this and force white to capture these stones. But you can also just probably play here directly. And if the opponent plays like this, then like you're thicker than before. So we connected in the fight. Black makes a very large net. I don't fully understand. So we're trying to protect this, but we have issues with the large. So the immediate thought is like this is an issue with the large net, and that will always be an issue. So we would have to come back and capture the stone anyways. In that case, we should just net directly. However, the corner's in trouble. You're about to lose some territory, so I would recommend playing here first. So the idea is, let's say they play here. You're going to obviously run the stone out, and then later you can net. So maybe white doesn't do that immediately, and instead they connect. Well, if they connect that way, you can connect underneath, and then even if white still runs the stone out, they're ruining their potential on the right side. So white will probably play this way, and then you can come back and capture. This would be good. But again, running these stones out it isn't like necessary. Sorry, capturing the one stone isn't necessary. You should always try to look at a way to put pressure on the opponent. So, for example, if you stop the 3-3 and they continue to push out, eventually they need to come back and fix. So they may play something like this, and then you can turn, and the game becomes somewhat even, or it's very fighty. So probably hard to really describe who's winning until positions start getting settled. But with this one, white fixed. I don't know about that one. My immediate thought is just play the move that black should have played, because when they play like this, now they're fully connected. If they connect, then you can descend, and black needs to make some sort of shape in the corner. And then now, like white has threatening moves, right? So now this is a real thing. So with 3, you kind of have to come back and stop white from playing that way. But then white's going to get a capture, and like you have to answer. So you're in a tough position with that net. In the actual game, you protected 3-3. That's fine. I'm surprised white didn't try to push out. Maybe they thought that this works, but it doesn't, because you can break out this way. I don't know if it's good to break out this way. White probably shouldn't do it immediately, but you wouldn't be able to block here either because, well, you can't ladder. So white gave the stone up, but they got a wall. However, the wall is more or less facing low stones, you're flat on the right side. So I can't really expect much points for white on the right. And black got a big move here. That's a little greedy. Definitely, definitely should just do this. Just take the stone and then build elsewhere. That's really unfortunate that we played the honey. Oh, and white answered. If white just plays here, I can get this move, and if you live, that's fine. The issue is that I can cut you off. And if you play this way, these stones are going to get hurt. So you need to run these stones, and then white gets the turn. And now these stones are fighting, right? So you can't have everything. They're very important to give the stones. White got to capture this. I don't know what this move is doing. Just connect. White does get to kind of steal the base a little bit, but white's alive. You can't kill white. Oh my goodness. Just connect. Your opponent can't kill you. They can try, but they can't. Yeah. Also, if you connect here, you're threatening an eye, and you can always come out. The bottom left is so weird. Like, I almost want to, because this is a ko, right? I almost want to leave it. I want to play something like this. So my opponent plays stuff here, and then I can make the right side larger. Although I have to add extra moves, it's still pretty important to, like, build this large area now that the top side is broken. And, like, if black plays here, like, you have many co-threats that you can play, especially locally. There's also, like, once you're able to connect here, you can throw in, and it becomes a ko. If that's hard to see, I can show you. So let's say black answers, we connect. We're trying to kill, throw in, throw in, throw in. If you connect, white can throw in locally. You can't connect, so you play co-threat. Say white answers, you play here. White can still play another co-threat. But let's say white plays a co-threat and you don't answer. Well, white can still play the ko. It's now one step away. So you would have to play co-threat, white answers. And in order for you to win this ko, you would have to connect. But are you really killing white here? So, like, you had to give white 2 extra moves elsewhere, and we were still not done killing them. So it's a little bit difficult. So let's see what happens in the game. Black is really bloodthirsty. I like that. Yeah, at this point, black made big mistakes trying to kill this group. Locally, if you're going to play a move, after white got this, we should just block. There's no reason to play anything else if we're trying to kill the opponent. But also, like, our group here is not very satisfying either. So we either need to make it alive or play elsewhere. Okay, so with this failed attack, white is actually far ahead. And white gets to play the first move. I would still look to play something like this, so when the opponent answers, I'm still making this large, and if they play here, I can make it even larger. But this is fine too. Probably not the best attack. I would still play this one. Locally, white's fine. Even if you were to steal the base, white can find two eyes. If we're going to go all in, we have to like jump in to attack. But I'm going to say that this is very hard to kill. But now white's getting the moves that are important. So you probably shouldn't have defended this way. And you probably need to come in, shoulder hit, or jump down. Probably this one. We really needed to try and reduce and control the right side. Because if white gets another move, like they did in game, we can see that they're building. Oh, maybe you can go deeper though? I'm unsure. This was interesting. I would want to play this one, because there is Aji against the corner. But also, like, if we extend here, we can just give up one stone. We don't care about the one stone. Now that the right side is solidified, like, this is game winning. I don't see black making up the points on the right side. Black does have a lot of points in the center now, but um, the right side is gigantic. Okay, so we gave the capture. I would now be worried that black can play the Hane for free. And if we're not careful, then like later this move becomes troublesome, but probably not anytime soon. Oh, I don't know about this one. What if, can I just play here directly? You do have the squeeze. So like this, like you're okay. So you're fine here. The cut works. Maybe the honey doesn't work as well as I thought it did. That's a good move. Good move. Cut. Black didn't really handle this the best way. Um, but I think with his limited resources, he's got to try something. Oh, but we cannot play like this. You're cutting in Gote, and then your opponent gets to play the surrounding move, and then it's game over. There's nothing. All of these stones are dead. So all the moves that you put inside, white got the moves on the outside. White gained, which is not pretty. You could play here still. Black has to try and validate capturing these stones. But like there's no capture here, especially since you have an Atari here and an Atari here. I don't see black making a comeback after this. It's entirely possible white makes an in-game mistake, but yeah, the center fight. If there's any time that black could have done something, oh, I see what happened. I thought black played this way, and this is what happened. Hane is good, but black probably should just Hane directly. This is like black's probably last chance to do something. And the idea is that we're trying to utilize the Aji in the corner, so maybe we can get away with some stuff. The other thing that, so with the Aji here, if we play here, white needs to connect, yes, and then if black plays this, it's a double kill. White can just fix. So never mind. There's nothing in the corner. For a second, I thought we can get away with like this type of kill, but it doesn't work. It's very bad. Um, So in this case, black's best bet is to do something like this, and then now you need to try and win the game on endgame. Any questions about the game? I'm not hearing anything, so I'll go ahead and call it. I messed up yesterday. I completely forgot about the reviews. The big thing was that I had something very important to take care of, and I just didn't have my phone on me. So I kind of I grinded it. All right. Well, if you need me, you can always message me on Discord, Tong Hao, or you can add comments to the YouTube video. Thank you.